So
I heard. So let me tell you what I heard.
okay.
So I heard that the I guess the location of their nuclear sites, Israel's weapons and their whatever bombs or missiles they had wouldn't be able to actually affect the. I guess because the bunker was like the base of a mountain or something like that, and they needed our bunker buster or whatever it was, and they didn't have it, so we had to do it for them.
So Tulsi Gabbard just said 2 weeks ago when I asked at Congress, they said that there are there's no evidence that there's any nuclear development going on in Iran. That's their job, is what they said. Trump said, I don't care what she says, she's stupid. I'm going to do that. So why you hire her? What was the point? You got to do. Now, Israel was the aggressor in this particular scenario. They attacked. And they said the same thing they were saying. It is imminent that Iran is going to develop nuclear weapons. We had an agreement once upon a time with Iran where they wouldn't do anything like that.
The Obama one.
Yeah, and fuck pulls out. So you pulled out of the agreement. You took away the oversight. You left it to complete speculation. Your Secretary of Defense says, well, there is nothing being developed. You say, screw that, you're dropping the bombs anyway. And you just pull this into something that we haven't been discussing. So now what's the result? What is actually going to happen next?
I think what
They're gonna attack whatever bases we have close to Iran, and even if we didn't do this, I'm pretty sure Israel would have made it look like that.
Plus, you put us in a position now where if Iran did something first and we retaliated, then we can always say that Iran was the aggressor. We're the aggressor. Why the hell are we the aggressor in a conflict in the Middle East?
Because we have an aggressive party.
Yes, aggressively.
Well, he's gonna try to make
That's
that
what I
work.
said.
Israel is kind of like a prop. It's like an extension of the United States, though.
How?
You don't feel like that? If the United States didn't fund, if the United States didn't fund Israel or have the relationship that it have with Israel, Israel wouldn't be able to exist where it is right now. Would you agree with that, or
No.
they're surrounded
Well,
by?
I should say that back. Yeah, it's like
Okay, I'm about to
it's
say.
like, it's like that person who gets away with everything because they know they got like a big older brother behind them to protect them. So you just let the little brother just act reckless as crazy because you know you always got to be there for him. That doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. So I got to get in every fight possible because you feel like punching at people that are bigger than you.
Damn, I don't want
The
to say
other thing is
that.
Israel is not bigger.
Yeah,
The funny thing is
that is how it works.
yes, but Israel's powerful as power. They're all industry power.
You said, what do you?
That's through
So
influence, though.
you can't be the victim and the bully. You know who else has that's literally the Republican platform, the victim and the bully, and that's why they connect so seamlessly. And here we are. So you get to Israel started the fight. Israel started this fight.
I believe Israel started it.
They started it, and then they said you must protect us from what we started.
But I'm saying if we have to protect them,
At the end of the day, we have to protect them.
Oh, so my boy just fight me in the fight. It is cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't, if you and I are walking down,
to Israel,
let's say you stop for a hot second and then 10 feet ahead of you, I get into a fight, and you're gonna look and go, that could be something stupid. I'm gonna let him go to one of these. Or are you gonna help me?
I'm gonna help you first.
Because if you don't help me,
but
I don't know if we're friends.
Yeah, but there's two ways that work. That's not a one-way street. So yes, you get in a fight one time, whatever. I got to jump in to help you. But if I notice a trend that every time I go out with you, you get in a fight, I might stop going out with you.
Word.
I've just learned there's only one common denominator here. You are the common denominator.
Damn. I
So
can vibe with that
why
sentiment.
does not work the same way with the United States and America?
I think we don't get to see the conversation that's supposed to be had behind closed doors between Israel and America. There's no conversation that we get to see, but I'm sure there is one, or we hope there is one, because niggas is definitely going overboard for them. And off of beef they started. Unfortunately, that's how allies and friendships work. If Deans does something stupid, I'm going to defend him to the public. And privately, I'm going to tell him you're wrong. But we don't get to see that. We're not privy to that. So I just...
But in the public,
I'm right.
You don't let the person who you have an allegiance with or an alliance with go down because you felt like their points were stupid.
Yeah, because Israel's not going down.
No, I'm
I'm
not.
not, that's, you know,
Well,
right now we hypothetical.
They were saying that they were running out of, what was that? They was running out of, like, missile to the,
That's crazy.
what
Like,
was it called?
I don't know.
Like for the Iron Dome?
Yeah.
Yeah, they was running out.
yeah, but
But you know
before
when you
they,
not run out? You don't shoot any.
before they even popped it off, we sent them niggas like 100 Hellfire missiles to do what they want with. So really, we've been helping out the gate. I mean, it's been like that. I just think that Israel's definitely not the victim. And yeah, it's gonna get nasty. I was definitely grossed out when I seen Netanyahu talking about how proud he was of us helping. I was like, God damn, this nigga, because he's a wicked nigga. I ain't gonna hold you.
To be clear, we only jumped in this conflict with probably the distraction. There's a lot of that press that we have to that's all the distraction.
A distraction from what?
From his performance, from his poll numbers, from everything that's going on, that he's definitely responsible for, the shrinking GDP, for everything that he's a distraction from. You got to play it. When you're doing bad, when you put out a new album, and nobody likes the new stuff, and you go on concert, on tour, what do? You play the hits. Nobody wants to hear the new shit, you play hits. And what plays with his base, he plays the Republican base since the beginning of time. Every Republican president gets this in some sort of arm conflict, but never fails.
So,
The war gets money too, man.
So what do they do? He goes,
what gets money?
Israel.
The
Israel's
war's gonna keep.
Gets money
Israel's
for
enormously
who?
popular in the Republican
Fuck.
No, how?
How does war get money for us?
For the United
Any
States.
consistent conflict. They're
The
gonna have
United
to.
States?
Yeah, they're gonna have to. Everybody who wants to help the United States is gonna have to dump their pockets to help us.
So let me
That's what we're doing for Israel. So our allies, now that we've stepped up for Israel, are gonna want to step up for us. They're not gonna have a choice.
So that's a fallacy. So that's one of the biggest fallacies right now too. A war does not get the United States money.
That's what I've been.
War does get people invested in
those, like
channels, those military, those military channels. They may get money. But war always leaves.
Yo,
No, not like American citizens, but I'm saying the government is paying out though. They ain't
Paying
get
out?
money for that.
But money going to come back in because people are gonna have to give it out. If we go into like you know
I
how
don't see that.
so if we run into the draft game, like they start drafting this, all that money, like the tax money, let's say it goes to schools or science or wherever it's gonna go to, it's gonna go directly to war. So I don't know if it's gonna bring a lot more money, but it's gonna generate more money.
You know what's funny? That was actually the concept behind, well, it's part of the concept behind Bush's term. Now, after 9/11, we went to Afghanistan for obvious reasons, I have to tell you. But everybody wonders why we pivoted to Iraq. And you notice everybody in his cabinet was a war hawk, which may be the biggest of them all. And the idea behind it is that, yes, if we go to war, all this money will come pouring into the economy because of X, Y, and Z. And as we know, the result, instead, is a massive market crash. Now, that concept of money being poured back into the United States based on war was started way back after World War II. And then, at that time, there were a lot more blue-collar jobs, things of that nature. So they thought, hey, we're going to war. Now we need people to hire for these factories. You hire people to hire people up into that. That does not play as well in 2025. It hasn't played well since then. And that's why every time we go into war, we end up in more and more debt. Our military spending outpaces the next closest competitor by, I think, like 320%. That's insane.
That's why I thought that war brought us in debt. So when he said that it makes us money,
It brings us in debt and we lose lives. We get literally nothing out of it besides some sort of half-hearted goodwill that is really has an expiration date. And what goodwill are we going to have with Trump, let alone in the first place? You don't have goodwill with Trump anymore.